Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. This is another of my fictional short stories. This one is called Homeschooling. After a stable, well-benefited career as a, to use the phrase, soulless bureaucrat, I retired early thanks to the pension that the government, or I should say the taxpayer, gives. Yes, thank you, taxpayer. The anticipated pleasures of sleeping late and lingering over coffee quickly faded, and although I had not been the stereotypical doting grandpa, because I was bored, I decided to spend more time with my grandson David, who's a precocious 16-year-old, who the school is threatening with a hyperactivity diagnosis. Truth is, David is just bored with the curriculum and with all the times the teachers spend on what he calls the dumb kids. I like to think big, so I decided to take David on what I deemed the ultimate road trip. During the summer, driving from New York to California with no agenda other than to be open to serendipity. First stop, Howe Caverns. It evoked the surreal in us, and we took turns adding a sentence to a fantasy story that I started with, once upon a time in a cave, and the story ended with us finding a humanist, simple civilization. They asked us to join, but we were too scared to. The next vivid memory was when I decided to take David to a pickup bar in Indianapolis where I'd grown up. He asked, "How can people get to know each other when it's so loud?" My answer, damn if I know. In Chicago, we visited a shared workspace with a bunch of startups, each with their own little office, but with a large common area in the middle. People were energetically coming out of their office and chatting with each other, and David said, "When I grow up, I want to do that." And I said, "I don't blame you." Still in Chicago, we went into Marshall Field, a famous department store. Yeah, we saw their famous chocolate mints and lots of expensive clothing, but more interesting, a guy sneaking a pair of gloves into his pocket. We followed him, he walked out, and a plainclothes security guard who looked more like a gangbanger stopped him and yanked him to the back of the store where there was a sign, "Employees Only." I admitted to David that when I was a teenager I shoplifted, and he admitted me too. Driving westward on I-80 in the rain, we skidded off the road. We were fine. There was a steel barrier between it and a lake, but David asked me, "What really happens when we die?" I said, "Some people believe we go to heaven or hell, but many people think not, so they try to live as richly as they can because no one knows what tomorrow brings." We were walking in Rocky Mountain National Park when a harmless garter snake came out. I said not to worry, most snakes are harmless. He asked then, "Why are most people scared of snakes?" I said, "Because even though the chances are small, it's no fun to be bitten by a rattler, which does hang out under rocks in this very park." We speeded up. Driving in Tucson, Arizona, we passed students building tiny homes. We found out that it was a way to attract teachers to the area because regular home prices are quote, crazy. David asked, "Why do home builders get less respect than dentists? Both are just technicians." I said, "I guess because dentists have to make more complicated decisions and it requires more school. But you're right, all people who work with their hands deserve more credit." In Hollywood, we visited an AI entertainment studio in which only a few people will be required to make a full-length movie or TV series. David asked, "What's going to happen to all those people who can't get jobs as writers, artists, musicians, and so on?" I had to answer that I do fear what they call social unrest. Our final stop was to visit a friend at Caltech who was studying the molecular basis of cancer. I asked my friend, "They've been studying cancer for decades, spending billions, and still cancer is a huge problem, and they still treat it with poisons that hurt the whole body, not just the cancer." Our friend could only say, "Good question. There are many kinds of cancer, many with different causes. We're working like hell on it, though." David cried because he lost his other grandfather to cancer. We flew back to New York, and we agreed it was the most educational experience of our lives. I drove him back to his parents' house, and right before he got out of the car, he said, "I don't want to go back to school. Will you homeschool me?" I'm thinking about it. In any event, that's Homeschooling, a fictional short story. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 34 books. Perhaps the most relevant to this would be Senior Stories, but all 34 are on Amazon. In any event, thanks for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.